What's going on, goats? Welcome back to BooKoo Bucks. My name is Raymo, and today I'll be breaking down my trading day from this morning. Unfortunately, I did not take a trade, but let's go ahead and break down exactly why I did not. So let's first break down EU. I will keep it relatively short. I am bullish mainly due to the daily time frame. I am looking at this as a daily break of structure. And after price made a new higher high, we can see price has came down into discount and price is starting to push away from this area. So ultimately, I anticipate price to make a new high at some point in the future. But when I went down to the lower time frame, I believe it was more so the 15-minute time frame, right here at the opening of London, which was right here, I seen price pop its head above this previous high right here. So seeing that price made a new high, and then also I'm bullish on the higher time frame. I was looking too long after price pulled back into discount, just like this. So we've seen price created some equal lows at the 50%. London opened up, swept the lows. I'll go ahead and mark that up as well in case you guys can't see it. Basically, these lows are here. Tapped into discount and then was looking for longs. I went down to the 1 minute time frame to find an entry. And right here on the 1 minute time frame, ultimately I was waiting for price to break above this M1 high, which it did at some point. But if you notice, using swing low to swing high, price never really pulled back into discount to give me the entry that I was looking for. Even here, if I wanted to use a change of character type of entry, as this is an internal high getting broken, and I drag this a little bit lower, we can even see here price doesn't even tap the 50%. It gets really close to it, but doesn't even tap it. So for me personally, since price did not pull back into discount, there really wasn't much of a trade for me to take. I did understand that price potentially could have just been utilizing this internal structure. And yes, for me, this will be internal because this will be my true high and my true low. But nonetheless, I wasn't willing to try to play or take a long off of this internal structure, mainly due to the trend line liquidity being created here. Usually when I see this, I usually want to see price take out sell side liquidity and then push it higher, which would make a lot of sense if I was using this low to this high, and obviously I would extend it out as price continued to push on higher. But if I would have got this move here, price taking out sell side liquidity, tapping discount, I definitely would have been looking for the longs. So ultimately, the bias was playing out, but unfortunately, I was not able to capitalize on this move at that specific time. So later on in the morning, right here during New York, if you guys were on the live session with me, you guys can kind of recall what I said. If you guys weren't on the live session with me, check out the link in my free Discord. Everything was recorded live. But I was looking too long out of here because obviously price was bullish at the time. So at this point in time, I was focusing on this range here, from this low up to this high. We have this structure low to this high, just like that. And then from here, I went down to a lower time frame. We could make things simple and maybe just plot up an extreme order block. For example, here, this will just be a nice 10-minute extreme order block. I also did point out how you could potentially use a continuation order block, and I will show that briefly. Here, we have this last sell to buy move. The bank sold before they bought, and this order block is in discount and also takes out sell side liquidity. So this is a great continuation order block to use, as you can see here. But ultimately, you don't have to use this. If you notice that 10-minute order block, the extreme order block is basically the exact same thing. So either or, you can use either or basically. So seeing here, I was watching the 1 minute time frame. I seen here price broke above this M1 high. So I was perceiving this as a break of structure. Let's go ahead and delete this real quick to make it a tad bit cleaner. And then price came all the way down here into the extreme order block, just like that. Now, ultimately for me, I should have taken entry here, but I'll explain why I didn't. And ultimately, it had to do with DXY. DXY, let me go back real quick once again on EU to look at the exact time. As price was forming here, this was around 840 to 845 ish. We'll call it there, 845. So going to DXY, I did have a bearish bias. I am bearish on DXY. I'll break that down as well on the higher time frame. On the daily time frame, we have a daily low, daily high, price made a lower low here. We can see price ran all the way up into premium. So I anticipate price to make a new low. If DXY continues to fall, then that means EU should continue to rise higher, which makes sense. So seeing this, I had a bearish bias on DXY. The only issue was on the lower time frame, specifically on the 1 hour time frame. Price was bullish from this low to this high as price took out this high here. So it made logical sense for the 1 hour time frame to continue to push on higher and make new highs. But once again, I understand that most likely, even if price did push on higher here for the day, at some point, most likely it's going to follow the daily time frame and push on lower. So what I'm trying to show here is that it was showing me signs that potentially price would want to go higher. And if DXY goes higher, EU should go lower, which would invalidate my bullish bias on EU, of course. Coming into New York, I started to see how price was basically moving sideways right here and seeing price moving sideways, specifically seeing price creating a lot of sell side liquidity underneath these lows, basically, whether it's here or whether you want to mark up these lows as well. Seeing that there was a lot of sell side liquidity resting down here gave me the sign that most likely price wanted to continue going bearish. I was really hoping that price could make a new low first, meaning price could take out the lows before going higher to really help with my EU bias. But if you notice here, price did not take out this low. Ultimately, this one right here, I'm marking up this one right here. Price did not take out this low until 9 o'clock, and price did not take out these lows until about 8:59. So 8:59, 9 o'clock, going back to EU, price was already kind of pushing to the upside. If I could find that real quick, my bad. 8:59 had to be up here. 8:59, 9 o'clock. As you can see, price is already up here. I was really hoping that DXY could make a new low a little bit earlier, because if it did, it would have gave me the sign that price wanted to go bullish. But I was starting to hesitate and doubt my analysis, mainly due to the fact that price was starting to stall and not push harder, meaning it wasn't exploding to the upside. So seeing that price was kind of stalling downwards, and then DXY really wasn't making a new low just yet. Yes, I did have a bias that DXY would make a new low, but again, price did not show me just yet that it wanted to continue to go lower. So it started to invalidate my bullish bias off of EU. There was a little bit of a GU analysis to help out at this time. I'll double check to see if I can remember. We'll go around the 8:50 mark in the morning. Right here at about 8:50. That's not 8:50. 850 somewhere up here. To be honest, I don't really think I was utilizing GU at this specific time. I remember during here, I was utilizing GU to help with my EU bias, but in this case, I really wasn't using it. So ultimately, I was looking at EU, looking for longs. DXY was just not giving me the confirmations that I wanted to see to go long. And then simply looking at EU, seeing price kind of stall a little bit, kind of gave me doubts that price wanted to go higher. One other thing that continued to further or increase my doubts was this very clean trend line here. Usually, when I see a trend line, I am very cautious of taking a long from a bullish trend line in this specific situation because there is going to be a lot of sell side liquidity down here. Now, just because there is a trend line doesn't mean price has to sweep it. At some point in time, the banks will use it as liquidity, but when the banks will use it, we obviously do not have the answer to that. All I know is that usually the banks will purposely engineer this liquidity, engineer this trend line because they understand that the retail traders will be utilizing it to take longs and stop losses will be placed underneath. Usually you'll get that sweep to the downside before price pushes on up. Again, not always a guarantee, but usually you want to be a bit more of a safer trader or just find those higher probability setups. Usually you want to see price sweep the trend line rather than buying from the trend line, right? So this was a perfect example of, again, we don't exactly know when a trend line will be swept, but we have to be cautious of it and understand what we are getting ourselves into. So looking back at it now, disregarding everything that I kind of told you about the doubts, at the end of the day, from a very simple perspective, a very simple textbook perspective, price is in bullish structure. This was the range from the low to the high. I always draw an extreme and continuation order block. In this case, we can simplify it and just draw the 10-minute extreme here. Once price taps the 10-minute extreme, we wait for a 1-minute break of structure. When we go down to the 1-minute time frame, price gave us that 1-minute break of structure, which ended up being right here. There's that M1 BOS again. Once price gives us the BOS, we want to wait for a pullback into discount. Swing low to swing high. Price gets into discount. At this point, you can utilize some order blocks as well. Perfectly fine. You really don't have to, ultimately. But either way, we see that price came down into this 1-minute extreme order block, and we should be taking longs off of the bullish engulfing pattern. In this case, the bullish engulfing pattern came right here. Our stop loss should be underneath the M1 low, and then we allow price to run to the upside. Stop loss goes underneath the M1 low because price could continue to pull on back further into discount before pushing on higher. So entry should have been here, or potentially entry should have been right here when price closed bullish off of this last bearish candlestick here. I was hoping that price, once price did this and showed me that I wanted to go higher, I was using swing low to swing high, wanting to see price come down to discount again before pushing higher. I did point out that potentially price would not do that, and price would work within this range from this low to this high from a fractal perspective, and we can probably see it a tad bit better on the 15-second time frame as price is printing bullish structure on the 15-minute time frame here. So we have this low to this high, price pulls back into discount before pushing on higher. So at the end of the day, I just missed my entry. Part of it was due to my technical analysis of DXY not showing me what I wanted to see in order to gain my confidence in EU. And part of it was a psychological barrier. As you guys can see, even though price was showing me signs that I should take the entry based off my rules, there were signs that were telling me that price or I shouldn't take longs as well. Or at the very least, there were signs that were shown that was causing me to doubt my bullish analysis. So I wanted to kind of go in depth a little bit more on this one because ultimately I do make mistakes. There are times where psychologically things will affect me, or even technically things will affect me as well. No one is perfect, and that is the reality behind trading. So at the very least, hope you guys learned something in that sense from a psychological perspective, even a technical perspective, or at the very least, understanding that we will take losses and there'll be times where we just simply miss the move, and that is perfectly fine. This was obviously a quite big of a move that we could have capitalized on, but at the end of the day, the markets are not going anywhere anytime soon, and these moves will continue to happen throughout our trading careers. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please drop them down below. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.